Algebra 2 Part 2 with Mrs. Garth. This week we are multiplying binomials on the first day and trinomials on the second day. What that means is we're going to multiply an x plus 4 times an x plus 4. We already know how to do that, so it's just review. Let's look at number 1. There's two different ways that we can do this, so I'm going to show you both ways. So the first way is what I'm going to call FOIL. So we are going to multiply our first number times our second number, where we will get x squared, and then again x times 3, or 3x. Then we are going to multiply this 5 times the x is 5x, and the 5 times the 3 is 15. Now we have to add any of our like terms, so our 3 and our 5. So we will end up with x squared plus 3 plus 5 is 8x plus 15. Now, the other way you can do this is to look at this as the area of a square, or an area of a rectangle, I'm sorry, where I'm going to take my x plus 5 here, and I'm going to do my x plus 3 here. So then I can say that x times x is x squared, x times 5 is a 5x, x times 3 is a 3x, and 5 times 3 is 15. All we're doing is we're looking to see what's on the outside of each of these boxes, and then we're multiplying that. Then I have to add anything that's the same, which notice I have an x in each term. So I will have x squared, 5 plus 3 is 8x, and a 15. Either one works the exact same. It's just which one you prefer to look at. So let's look at number 2. Number 2 is slightly different, only in that we have to rewrite this. This whole thing is x plus 4 squared, which really means that it is x plus 4 times x plus 4. So I'm going to do the box method first, just so that we can see what it looks like. So I'm putting in my x and my plus 4 on one side, and my x and my plus 4 on the other. Now, x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. X times 4 is 4x, and 4 times 4 is 16. So we would add anything that's exactly the same, meaning that I have an x, 4x, and 4x, so that I would have x squared, 4 plus 4 is 8, so I have a plus 8x and a 16. Notice that all of these are positive. If they weren't, then I would have to put a negative there. Now, if you prefer to do what I call FOIL, and it's just an easy way to say double distribution, I feel like that's a little harder. So I'm going to take this x, and it has to be multiplied by the other x. So I will have x squared, and this x needs to be multiplied by the 4, so I have a 4x. Then I have to take the second thing in my term, 4 times x is a 4x, and 4 times 4 is 16. I have to add anything that's exactly the same. Anything that's exactly the same, meaning my x's, so that I end up with x squared plus 8x plus 16. Both ways are acceptable. It's whichever way you prefer to look at it. Let's look at number 3. Again, this is squared. That doesn't mean that we square each term individually. It means that that entire thing is squared. It means that 3x minus 4 has to be multiplied by 3x minus 4. So this time I'm going to do the FOIL method first, the double distribution. It's just easier for me to say FOIL. So 3x times 3x, 3 times 3 is 9, x times x is x squared. Then 3x times a negative 4 is going to be a negative. Positive times a negative is a negative. 3 times 4 is 12x. Then I'm going to do negative 4 times positive 3 is a negative 12x. Negative 4 times a negative 4 is a negative 16. I have to add anything that's exactly the same, which is a negative 12x and a negative 12x. That means that I will have 9x squared. Negative 12 plus a negative 12 is a negative 24x minus 16. If you prefer the box method, finding the area of this box, we are just going to write our 3x minus 4 and 3x minus 4. So we're going to look at what's on the outside of each of these boxes. You've been doing this since elementary school. So 3x times 3x is a 9x squared. 3x times a negative 4 is a negative 12x. 3x times a negative 4 is a negative 12x. And negative 4 times a negative 4 has to be a positive 16. You guys, I messed up over here. Somebody yell at me, I'm not in class right now. It's got to be a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. I am so sorry. Somebody in class would have caught that. So now I have to add anything that's exactly the same. The only thing that's exactly the same are going to be my x's. So I will have 9x squared, negative 12 plus a negative 12 is a negative 24x plus 16. Last example for today. I'm going to do negative 5 or positive 5 times positive 2 is a 10x squared. 5x times a negative 1 is a negative 5x. Then I already did my 5x. Now I have to look at my 2. So 2 times 2x is a 4x. 2 times a negative 1 is a negative 2. I have to add anything that's exactly the same, which are my x's. Notice they both just have an x, not an x squared. So I will have 10x squared. Negative 5 plus 4 is a minus 1x minus 2. And I didn't quite leave myself enough room there, so I will let you do the box method if you prefer. Otherwise, you can do the double distribution. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.